Okay, so here's where we're at. The tomato plants are looking a little bit spindly. About a week ago, I wanted to use 3 different trim methods for these plants. Now they're all on the same trim method, which is save the vine. Because they are looking pretty weak. So I changed the nutrient solution a few days ago to the mid-bloom phase. Got 1.5 days of explosive flowering and then like some sort of crash. It was almost like I put the plants on a sugar high, and once the sugar high was done, they were looking pretty pitiful. The branches were weak, they got stiff. The leaves were, looked like this one right there. Almost all the leaves looked kind of wilty like that. And I kind of went into triage mode. You know, this is kind of where I think this is the stage of the game that most YouTube hydroponic indoor tomato videos stop. And I'm going to keep recording what I learn all along the way, even if the last post is no tomatoes and dead plants, because I've got to figure this out. There's got to be a solution. It's just simple science. So my conclusion so far is, well, let me take a step back. When I test the solution, it looks like the pH is increasing by about 0.2 points every day. So it's just super hard to keep up with a spike in pH. And when I was doing my log, I was kind of shocked to see, because when I put it in the mid-bloom solution, the pH, the pH of my water is around 7, almost 7.5, but usually the nutrient blend brings it down to around 6 every time. So it's quite convenient. I don't really have to put any pH down in there. But and the same was the case for the mid-bloom. It looked really like a good starting solution. The pH is maybe around 5.96. Like a day or two later, it had jumped to 7, and the plants looked terrible. So my conclusion, just doing some research, is that when the plants enter the second phase of their life, the fruiting stage, I guess, the roots release a lot more bicarbonate, which has a pH rising effect. And I suspect that it's just a much more difficult part in the plant's life cycle, and as someone who's trying to manage the nutrient solution, you just have to stay super on top of it. I also read an article that indicates that a pH level of 4.0 is acceptable for tomato plants, especially during this phase, just because you just don't have that much room to work with. When your pH goes up by 0.2% or 0.2 of a point every day, you just don't have enough pH down to dump in there. There's probably another element here that I might be missing that could help keeping the pH down, but I'm not exactly sure what it is yet. So I'm learning as I go, and as disappointing as it is to see my beautiful plants like this, I feel like I'm learning something about it, and I'm just going to try to not give up. This plant actually did start to have some tomatoes. This was one of the ones that I tried to let grow as a bush, but you could really start to tell that the flowering was not very robust, and even though it would flower, some of the flowers would never produce fruit. So I went ahead and trimmed all of the shoots just to try to give this thing a chance. And the root, I mean the main vein, or the vine I guess, continues to feel stiff and good. So I'm hoping that, you know, like this round of tomatoes right here may very well be gone. I mean, hopefully they'll survive. They still look pretty good. They're firm, they're not soft. And if I can get the plant to grow a little more, hopefully it'll continue to support those tomatoes. Otherwise they're going to start dropping off. And my only shot at then is going to be maybe the last, you know, couple of rounds of flowering that the plant does, if I can get it to continue to grow and live. I do have the next batch of victims over here, and the growth, the stalk, the vine part is just super thick. The node growth is right on top of each other, which, you know, just looking at the leaves, they're right next to each other on each one of the branches, which I think is a good healthy sign. And I haven't touched the water since the 8th of April, and it's now the 22nd. So I think what the routine is going to be is to drop some plants in the buckets with the early growth solution, just leave them alone for a month, and then once it gets to the major flowering stage, I'm going to have to just be on top of them and change the solution, test it regularly, and try to come up with some solutions to keep that pH down. So, thought that would be a good status update on my indoor hydroponic tomato plant grow.